Peace and love, everyone. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, please like and subscribe. And thank you for joining me on this most supreme moon day, Monday, um, November 25th. And it is in that time of year. This is the week where we begin what they call the season of giving. And whether you celebrate conventional holidays or not, this is really the time of year where people are thinking a lot about gratitude and sharing and doing things that express gratitude, sharing, abundance, all of those things. And we know that we give thanks and praises for all the many blessings that we have each and every day. And so with that said, I want to extend holiday greetings to everyone out there. I hope you all who celebrate have a wonderful holiday this week and many more to come. And those of us who know, we know every day is a holiday and we look forward to the many blessings and peace, prosperity, and abundance that comes forth daily. And as we create this new earth that we're on. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. Been a couple of weeks since I did a live. Very busy with work schedule, but I am working on getting some more guests on here once again and just keep it moving and moving forward, especially with this upcoming new year, Gregorian calendar year that is coming for us. And I hope everyone is doing well out there. Let me know, give me a shout out, let me know what's going on and how you're feeling. And so, with that said, we are going to talk about breaking the sleep spell tonight. Breaking the sleep spell. Now, we are a few weeks from, the presidential election that took place early November. So it's post election. Excuse me, I had the hiccups. But we are, I did a live before that and talking about a lot of the things that were going on politically and spiritually around us. And so tonight we're going to be talking about breaking the sleep spell. And the sleep spell is what I call the state of a person being spiritually dead, not being consciously aware of what's going on around them, that state of slumber where the person's physically awake, but spiritually and mentally they're not. They are in a state of almost like they're sedated and, just blind, deaf, and dumb. That's what you would I call the sleep spell. So tonight we're going to talk about breaking the sleep spell and identifying how to identify that there actually is a sleep spell and that you may be under it. So some of you who, are aware of the time that we're in and what's going on around us, you know, many of us are on our spiritual journeys of awakening and spiritual awakening, and we're all in different stages. And some people may be more advanced than others, but nevertheless, a spell has been cast over the masses, and many of us have been asleep or under that spell at some point in our lives. And so it's a gradual awakening process. For some people, it's rapid, like the Big Bang. And for others, it's a gradual process, a slow process. And it can be as fast as you want or as slow as you want, because it ultimately depends on what you want and how you feel about awakening and being aware. In order to awaken, you have to allow yourself to wake up. You have to allow yourself to be conscious and to want that and to desire that, because many of us who are aware of certain things, we wonder why other people are not. And like, how can't they see this? How can they be so blind, we say, or how can they be so dumb, or how can they be so ignorant? But it's a choice. Some people choose to wake up out of their stupor or the sleep spell, and then some people are very comfortable there. They're very comfortable there. And to come out of the sleep spell or to wake up is painful and uncomfortable for some people. And if you recall the film The Matrix, when Morpheus offered Neo the red pill or the blue pill, and he chose the pill that would allow him to be aware and awake. But the other pill, the red pill, allows him to just go back to sleep and just carry on the life that he had been living, which was a life that was not based on truth and the reality of what life was all about. And so he could have chosen the red pill and went back to sleep and just carry on the way things used to be. Or he could take the blue pill and continue on his journey. And so he chose the blue one. However, I think wasn't yeah, I think he took the blue pill. It's been a while since I saw that movie. But ultimately he had a choice and he chose one or the other. And all of us at some point in our life's journey are going to be confronted with a choice, like a serious choice, and the choice to awaken and accept some things or stay asleep. And many people are conflicted and at odds about which choice to choose or what decision to make, or what is real and what is not, what is true and what is falsehood, because of the thoughts and feelings of others around them. Many of us are surrounded by people who are under the sleep spell, and they want you to stay in that same frame of mind and that same um, induced hypnosis, if you will, that they are under. And when you choose not to go along to get along, when you choose not to be amongst the sheeple, sometimes they will turn on you and will try to demonize you and say other unsavory things about you and do things to you because you may be speaking a truth that they're not ready to hear, or you may be telling them some things that is uncomfortable and they're not ready for. And you have to make a decision if this is how you want to continue and live in your truth, or do you want to go along to get along. And oftentimes going along to get along looks like being complicit, looks like denying things. And to deny is to tell lies. The worst lie you tell is the one you tell yourself, because that's what denial is. You're lying and you're not being honest with yourself. And so all of these are some of the symptoms of the sleep spell. So another symptom of the sleep spell, we all should acknowledge that we're living in a time of intense spiritual warfare. And life is similar to a game of chess. And we need to be aware that a game of chess is being played right in front of our eyes. And matter of fact, a game of chess is being played with us, and the prize is you. The prize is your mind and your soul. That is what this game of chess is all about. This spiritual warfare that I'm speaking of. And spiritual warfare comes in many forms. No one will announce to you, we are declaring spiritual war on you. That's not, I doubt that's going to happen. It's going to be a more subtle war, almost like a cold war. It's something that is done very clandestine, almost like, guerrilla warfare, where there's sneak attacks, but they're not going to put it out in front of you and say, oh, we're declaring spiritual warfare on you. So it will come and appear in different ways, many different ways. And you'll see Well, first of all, we got to recognize that no one needs your permission to declare war on you. And you may notice that, you know, the forces of negativity and darkness may be carried out against you. And you may be wondering, well, what did I do? I didn't do anything to this person, or I didn't do anything to this group of people, or this or that. But you don't have to they don't, when someone declares war on you, they may not always be open and out front with it, and they don't need your permission to declare war. This is something that they will do. They feel the need to aggress upon you, and this is some of the things that will happen, and war is declared. Now the issue is, um how are you going to respond to the war? How are you going to respond to the attacks, the guerrilla warfare, or whatever is being done against you? Because war is when there's opposing sides coming into a conflict or a battle, and spiritual warfare is no different than a physical war or war of minds, because there's someone aggressing upon another a person or another group in on from a spiritual perspective or a psychological, and it's all connected. I want to make that clear. It's all connected, the mind, body, and spirit. We know that there is no separation between it. That's the illusion of separation. And so what affects the mind also affects the body and the spirit. And it's all interconnected. So if you have a sickness on one level, you also have it on another level. If you're physically sick, it started energetically or spiritually first. So let's keep that in mind. So any spiritual warfare is also going to have a physical and a mental and psychological aspect to it, or ramifications as well. Um, I don't think that the spiritual warfare is new. I think it's been around for a long time. It just, the strategies are different. And I think that part of the reason why we're in the position that we're in today in this modern time, during this great paradigm shift, and we're experiencing this open spiritual warfare and open assaults against us, is because of the decisions made by people before us, generations before us, who didn't quite get the message that a war was being declared against them. And because they didn't get the message, it appeared that they were losing the war on many different fronts, and it just continued to the next generation. So now we're in a new generation, new time period, new techniques and strategies, but it's the same old war, which is ultimately the forces of darkness against the forces of light, or good versus evil, whatever however you want to characterize it. And this story has been playing out since time immemorial. However, the the game is getting different. Okay, so that's why I say it's likened unto a chess game. The war against your mind and your spirit is like a game of chess. Like the strategy is changing. The strategies are getting more clever, but at the same time more dangerous. But it's always been there, whether we will acknowledge it or not. And many people just refuse to get the message, refuse to accept that there's a war, a spiritual war going on, and that it's a war for our minds. And some people just refuse to acknowledge that. They make excuses for it, the behavior. They refuse to acknowledge that there's any wrongdoing going on, and if it is, it must be someone else's fault, the victim's fault, or they just refuse to acknowledge it. And then some people would rather take sides with the one who declared the war, versus standing up for what is right and standing up for what is just and truthful and peaceful. Some people would rather take the negative side because that side seems like it's winning or is more powerful or more intimidating to them, and that is more appealing. And some people just don't have the courage that it takes to stand up for what is right and the courage to fight against the negative forces. Some people just don't have that. um, many warnings have been made, and about this time that we were living in and what was to come. And it's been many prophetic messages from different sources for many years, about this time period. And still people are deaf, dumb, and blind, and just have no clue to what's going on, and they're just going along, like I said, to get along, getting in where they can fit in, and not actually aware of what they're doing. And then let's not forget that they say the lack of money is the root of evil, and a lot of people are willing to do whatever it takes to fit in with the opposing side. If there's money involved, money, people will sell their own souls for that. um do whatever it takes to get it, and it's almost like they become a slave, if you will, to money. You're supposed to earn money and don't let money. You're supposed to have money, like Reverend Ike said, have money to do the things that you enjoy with it, but don't let money have you. Well, some people, it's the opposite. The money has them, that they will do anything for it, even commit evil acts, things that they know in their heart and in their soul is wrong, but they are so fixated with having this this money, which they equate to power, is almost like a form of idol worship. Yes, we all need money. This is a material world. We do need money, but it's the abundance and the prosperity that we need, not so much the money, because money is um something. I mean, it is a form of energy. I know, folks gonna say that, it's a form of energy. Abundance is the energy that we should be looking for. Abundance, having abundant health, having abundance, and the things that we need when we need them. Yes, that's very real. However, money or the love of money can become like a almost like an addiction for some people, and they will it consumes their thoughts, consumes their minds, consumes their lifestyle. And some people spend their whole lives chasing money and never get enough or feel that they ever have enough. And like I said, money can motivate people to do some horrible things. And that's another tactic that the enemy will use against you. um Use the fear of lack or the fear of poverty and hold that over you, and will tempt people to do things that is just very nefarious. So that's another form of spiritual warfare. um and as we see around us, I think about, I had a conversation with a friend of maybe about a year ago, and she was telling me that she was expecting her third child, and she was telling me that she didn't feel that it was she was happy about the baby, but she said that she felt it was she felt conflicted about bringing another child into this world. And I said, well, what do you mean? And she said, the world, how it is, and how wicked things are, and how people are. And she says she just doesn't feel like this is a good place to have children and to raise children. And so we had a conversation about that. And she I agree with some of the things that she was saying. However, the world has always had some element of negativity and evil in it. And I feel like it's our duty to be light bearers and light bringers and change and shift that. None but ourselves can free our minds by engaging loving thoughts and peaceful thoughts and high vibrational thoughts. We have the power within us to change and shift the way the world is and make it better. Where they say there's no justice, there's no peace. We have to decide that we're not going to engage in unjust behaviors, and we're not going to engage in behaviors that would harm another or harm the planet. We have to make those decisions that we are not going to do certain things that's going to contribute to some hardship or bloodshed or some kind of harm to other people. And that's a decision that we have to make. There's no one's going to come and just wave a magic wand and change everything. It's up to us to do that. It starts with us. It starts with the person in the mirror. Like, are you going to be an agent of change and a world-class leader and a leader for peace, and love and harmony and freedom and justice and equality. So you have to be that change that you want to see in the world. And if enough people would recognize that the power to change is within them and start thinking and better and thinking more positive thoughts and loving and high vibrational thoughts and start acting in higher vibrational ways and from a place of a higher vantage point or from their higher self, then we could have a better world. We could have a happier, more peaceful world, I think. You know, if we would strive to be God-like in person, I mean, every day we see the devil in people, we see the wickedness. But if you consciously decide that I'm going to be the best version of myself, I'm going to be everything that I want to see in another. I'm going to be that light in the darkness. If you start thinking like that and acting from that place of where of those thoughts, you can make a positive change. But while we are focusing on ourselves, there are people who are refusing to wake up and refusing to repent and refusing to change and make things better because they like the way things are going, or maybe they are full of fear. um Whatever the case may be, we don't want to be amongst them. We don't want to be amongst the sleeping people, the people who just refuse to follow right guidance. Wickedness in high places, evil carried out right in front of us now. I mean, it's so much evil and wickedness that is no longer kept hidden. It's very blatant, it's very in your face, it's very the deception is just right in front of you. And we're also living at a time where there's so much genocide going on in the world, genocide of the innocents, just blatant human rights abuses and other abuses that are going on, and so much injustice and bloodshed that we see around us. But we also have a responsibility and a duty, I think, to do all that we can and to stop that, excuse me, to mitigate that and to make things better. Um, and it starts within. It starts with each of us. It starts at home. It starts in our own communities. Many people, we talked about this before when I did the videos on narcissism. You got some people who step out their homes and they're all smiles and they're pleasant and friendly with their co-workers, with their neighbors, with their friends, but then they go home and they are just this total monster with their own family members. They're abusive, they're gaslighting, they're playing mind manipulation games or what have you. And then you got some people the opposite. They're kind to their family, but they're mean to everybody else. So it starts within, so we have to show up for ourselves and show up for one another, being the best versions of ourselves, um, showing up as, with our own supreme God-like qualities, and being that change, being that light. When there is no light at the end of the tunnel, that light is you. And when you don't see light or a goodness in a situation, be the one to change it and make it better. You know, um, we also did a video about, not following um toxic leadership. There's a lot of people out here who are quote unquote leaders, and they are abusive, toxic, or narcissistic, or controlling and manipulative of people. And we see the damage that those kind of people do every day. We're seeing people have given them their total loyalty, their total trust, and sometimes everything they possess, and these people will use them, mistreat them, abuse them, take everything from them, and then discard them as if they were just objects. And this is very um unfortunate behavior, and it happens all too often. And many people follow this kind of leadership because they either are looking for something in the other person, they feel a lack of something in themselves, and they feel that they need someone else to guide them or to be their leader, or someone else has something for them, like they can make them famous, or they can make them rich, or they can help them in some way that they feel like they can't help themselves. And for whatever reason, they will put their trust and their faith in these other people, and then things will go terribly wrong. And at this time, we really, really got to work on ourselves and work on tapping into our own higher self and our higher senses, our spiritual senses. Let your spiritual senses be your guiding light, be your leader. Learn and develop the ability to discern right from wrong and truth from falsehood. These are our own inner senses that each and every one of us has, and we have to learn to tap into them and to use them. And learn to trust your instincts, not your ego, but your instincts, and learn to trust that gut feeling from your higher self that's telling you when something's not right, or not to trust someone. And that's, or when someone's, something doesn't feel right, and it doesn't feel right, that comes from within. And so you have to let your spiritual senses be that guiding light through these uncharted waters that we're going through right now in the universe. Um, it's so much rapid change happening. Not only are we going through this great paradigm shift, but we're in a new zodiac age, the age of Aquarius. We're in a new cosmological age. We're in so many different time periods that unlike any that have happened before, and they're all happening at once. They're all happening at once. And then also on the 19th, Pluto entered Aquarius, and it says it's going to be there for 19 years. And the last time it was in Aquarius, there was some major revolutionary wars around the planet. So look for revolution. Revolution may not be a physical revolution, it could be a spiritual revolution, or a combination of both. And I want everybody, when I'm talking to you today about the sleep spell and this spiritual warfare, just like that song, "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised," a lot of the things that are going on are not going to be televised, but some of the stuff that's happening is being televised, is being put out there in the media, and they're blatantly showing you what their plans are if you are paying attention. And some people are just not paying attention. Some people are not. And some people are just not awake and are not awakening to what's happening around them. But those of us that know, we know, and it's, you can take time to educate and warn others if they want to listen. That's their choice. If they choose not to, that's their choice as well. But use your spiritual senses and your ability to discern to be a guide for you at this time, because the time period that we're in now is unlike anyone that has existed probably in many, many thousands of years. And a lot of what's happening in the awakening process is new to many of us, and many of us don't have, we're learning this as we go along, and as we're learning and as we're swimming against the current, your guidance should come from your own higher self, your spiritual toolkit, with your scriptures, your prayers, your meditation, your spiritual practices. Let that be your guide at this time. Let that help you, and let that be your armor and your shield in this time of spiritual warfare. So your spiritual tools are your arsenal, if you will, instead of strapping on something and putting on your bulletproof vest, put on your armor of God, if you will, and put on your spiritual practices and elevate your mind and your spirit to and elevate your life too. And once you do all of those things, it's like you will radiate the divine love and the peace and the harmony and all goodness and wholeness and oneness and divine love from within. And allow your spiritual senses to help you understand why things are happening, help you to understand what's going on in your own life, the challenges that you're facing, um, help you to understand what your spiritual lessons are and how to move forward with confidence and how to move forward with right guidance. And so that you don't feel lost and you don't feel alone and you won't feel that you just don't have the tools that it takes to get through this time period. And as many of us say, and this is not a cliche, this is the best of times to be alive, and for some it is the worst of times, but it really is the best, knowing what is coming for us, each and every one of us. And with that said, I hope this will help. um, Let me know in the comments, and also feel free to send me an email if you have any questions about the spiritual awakening or spiritual warfare. And remember, no one has to ask your permission to declare war on you. And once they do make it known that they are declaring war on you, it's up to you. How are you going to defend yourself? Self-preservation is the first one of the first laws of nature. So how would you preserve yourself? Just like if a physical enemy was attacking you, you would block it. You would use something to defend yourself, whether it's your hands, you know, um, your firearm, your machetes or whatever it is, bob and weave, whatever you got to do to defend yourself against a physical enemy. But when you're dealing with this spiritual enemy and the spiritual warfare, you also have your arsenal and your tools to use to protect you against it. And how you elevate your mind and how you navigate through this difficult time period, and your spiritual practices and spiritual tools, and just also keeping yourself aware of what's going on and not allowing yourself to be caught up in that tsunami of negativity that's all around us, because you have to stand firm and ground yourself at this time. Be strong, be vigilant, be firm, be like a tree, like just unmovable, and know that you can't be easily tempted um to do wrong. You can't be easily swayed to do things that goes against your best interest and the best interest of, the group that you say you are a part of. Um, so with that said, I hope this was helpful. I look forward to coming before you with some more great content next week. And with that, I hope you all have a lovely week, and stay safe out there. Peace and love to each and everyone, and happy holidays.